Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to Recording Sound Effects. We have our latest session for the CreatorSpace online series. I just want to thank everyone for joining us. My name is Tom Sternat. I'm the lead digital artist of the CreatorSpace project. And again, we'll be going over some of the aspects of equipment that's available through the CreatorSpace project and also through our library partners. So what does that mean? So I just want to thank all our partners in this project. So we have the Canada Council for the Arts, then we have our library partners, Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, and the Wasaga Beach Public Library. Now the great thing is with the partners, we have our workshops, we have our CreatorSpace digital arts equipment. Now big part of the digital arts equipment is that we have portable digital sound recorders. So all the libraries have some sort of a portable digital sound recorder, and with that you have this amazing tool that you can then use to create record sound effects, to do all sorts of different things with it. So that's really cool, is that that's possible. Now in terms of what that means is that you can take this equipment out, you can then capture different sound effects, and you can use them for your different productions. So for example, if you're doing something in film, if you're doing something in any kind of arts discipline, you can use sound effects for your benefit to help enhance and better tell the story. I think that's always something really interesting, is how do you help enhance the story? How do you help tell better stories? And sound is crucial, especially for video, for audio podcasts. Sound is everything. And also we're starting to look at, and this is one of the things that I'm trying to challenge everyone with digital arts, is that you can start to combine things. So think about sound effects can be a great tool for your arts presentations in general. So let's say you did a digital illustration, why not make it come to life with some sound design? How about putting that as terms of an online presentation, having sound effects to help enhance and accentuate what you've already been doing, and to help better tell the story. So it creates a different kind of environment. Imagine if you had a podcast about traveling through the jungle and you never heard sounds of the jungle. You'd be really kind of questioning, what am I listening to? So same idea, if you're capturing a winter scene in a digital illustration, wouldn't it be great to create a winter scene soundscape that an audience online can appreciate? So then you can create, your digital drawings can become videos and sound effects. So anyways, just an idea of what we can do with sound effects. But primarily we're really looking at sound effects for film and video use. So you have a project and you want to create some sort of sound effects, and the idea is that yes, you can buy sound effects online, purchase them low cost. There's free options out there, lots of different sound effects to choose from that are recorded, but you can also record your own. And this is the great thing, that we have these portable recorders that you can then record your own sound with. They're super easy to use, and we'll show you how easy they are to use today, and just some of the main tools. And it's as simple as turning the power on, adjusting a little bit of the levels, hitting record, and you have a perfect wave file for a sound effect. And that's it. It's really that simple. And I want to demystify, if sometimes people are like, I don't want to spend the time recording extra things. But if you need a sound effect of drinking coffee, it's very easy to put a sound recorder. You can drink the coffee and you have that sound effect, and it's really specific. So I think we can stop thinking that we have to always find everything online, but it's a lot of fun to record your own sound effects, your own unique sound design. And that's done a lot. So sound designers and Hollywood films, they'll go out with recorders and with teams and send people different places to capture these different sounds and sound effects. There's also the whole idea of Foley. So Foley is the idea of all human sounds, so making footsteps and all of this. And that can also be something vital that you can just record on your own and in your own studio space. And at home, outside, you can get great Foley sounds too. And sometimes we're worried about other noises, but I mean, that's the actual atmosphere. So if you filmed in a town street and it's busy with cars, that's okay. That's the atmosphere you filmed in. So you want that actual authentic sound effect. So we're going to go through all of these things today. So really glad that you can join us. So let's get right into this. So recording sound effects. So using the portable recorders at CreatorSpace, essentially to record these sound effects. So overview, digital sound at CreatorSpace. What do we have? Portable sound recorders, intro to the Zoom H4n. I'll be demoing with something very similar, a Tascam Dr-40, which is a little sound recorder that I have on my own personal one. Adjusting levels for optimum recording, what that means. Phantom power, that's another term that you'll see, and it comes up in our with our equipment, because we have some specific equipment, specialized microphones that require phantom power. Boom microphone for sound effects, types of sound effects, and then we'll look at demoing that and what that means too. So a lot of fun stuff to go through. Now what's really important is that, the microphones, that the sound recorders, the great thing is they have built-in microphones, and that's all that you can use too, just for recording sound. They're beautiful directional condenser microphones, and they pick up amazing live sound, ambient sound. So you can just go out with this unit, take the kit out from the library, and then you can go out and record directly with this unit. And that's a great starting point. So use the onboard microphones, and I think that's really cool. So Digital Sound at CreatorSpace has a few things. So we have the portable sound recorder, we have different a boom microphone, and then we also have things like a boom pole, so you can attach the microphone to it. And that's great for getting dialogue for film recording and that kind of stuff. Then we have the XLR cables that hook up those microphones, those specialty microphones. But again, like I said, you can just use this recorder and not even worry about other microphones. But I'll take you through all of those steps. Something that I highly recommend is having a pair of headphones, so you can actually hear what the sound recorder is doing. We don't include these in the kits just for hygienic reasons, and also with the pandemic times, we're having less of these items that are very personal items. So we really recommend that you take out your own set of headphones, like just go purchase a pair. Very low cost, you can spend $20, something decent. You can spend hundreds of dollars. So get something that's practical for you, that maybe you can use just beyond sound recording, but maybe for like home use as well. So there's great Bluetooth options and things like that. You don't need noise canceling because you're gonna hear the sound, and you can also play it back because it's recorded. So it's kind of a great thing, and you'll get used to that idea. But if you want noise canceling, that's an option as well. If you want to really hear what you're doing, that's used by a lot of sound engineers in live events where they have the noise canceling, so they can really hear their board mix output and not be affected by any kind of other sounds out there. So just things to think about. Okay, so let's take us through what's available digital sound. So this is the equipment. Zoom H4n, and I'm showing a Tascam Dr-40. Again, very same type of equipment. It's a 4-channel recorder. There's 2 onboard microphones, so that's like channel 1, 2, or left and right of stereo. Then we have the inputs where you can put XLR. Rode Wireless Go system. I'm actually talking to you through my own Rode Wireless Go system, and we've included these. These are in the sound kits that are available through the Wasaga Beach Public Library and the Blue Mountains Public Library. And we're also going to be adding a sound recorder to the Collingwood Public Library, not with all the microphones, but with some items and a portable recorder. So you can still obtain these things. So then there's a condenser microphone we have, and that's more for audio recording, MXL or Audio Technica. And I'll have another workshop today. It's scheduled for 11:15. We just have a maintenance break that is from 11 to 11:15. So we have a 11:15 start of that workshop. So if you haven't signed up, please join me for that too. We're gonna get right into the condenser microphone, kind of carry this session on with a break. Then there's a pop filter, so that prevents popping. Now the Rode Wireless Go system has already that pop filter on the mic, so you're not really hearing me popping, but these other microphones, like these boom microphones, this has a foam screen on it, but on its own, it can end up with a lot of popping, and the condenser microphones that I'll show later pick up a lot of any kind of moisture condensation, can put pops. And those are what's called plosives, and those really can be a sound problem when you're getting voiceover recording or podcast type recording. We have a Gooseneck Stand, that's the next item, so you can attach that condenser microphone to an XLR cable, and then we have boom poles that basically you attach the boom mic to, has a little bit of a mount, so you'd go like this, and I'll just show it now. It's going to get kind of in the way later, so I don't need to necessarily use it, but this is a great tool, or I can actually probably keep it attached like this. So it's attached, boom microphone, and now, wherever you point, you're recording. You put the XLR cable on the back right here, and then you're ready to record. And you can point it in whatever kind of sound zones you want to record. So it's a very useful thing to have the boom pole. It gives you that more of that directional idea. So I like using that as well. Okay, so that's what's in our kit. And so this Zoom H4n sound recorder, compact device, 4 channels or inputs with a built-in internal stereo microphone, and then you can input the other mic or line. and those are in the bottom through XLR 1/4-inch combo inputs. And then you can also input the Rode Wireless Go, which is a 1/4-inch, so that's like the mini headphone jack. That 1/4-inch can go into the side of the Zoom as an input as well. So that could be a channel to put your that Wireless Go. Now the Wireless Go is a lavalier mic, and that is, I have it attached here, and that can go onto a camera, so like a DSLR, a video camera, or the sound recorder, and that's wireless. So that way you can have someone, talking, a host or an actor or a performer. They can be in the distance and you can be further away. It's wireless, so you don't have the cable, whereas the boom pole, these things have an XLR cable, so we're running those wired. They are not wireless units, so just to clarify that. Okay, and then you basically adjust, you put the levels in, you adjust, then there's an SD card, you have that SD card and you put that onto the computer, the back of the iMac computers that we have at our CreatorSpace Digital Arts computers. The iMacs get loaded, you put the SD card, you can offload these WAV files that are recorded through the sound recorder, and voila, you have sound effects. You can then put those into an editing software like the Blackmagic Resolve software that we have on our computers, or that's free available free for you to use at home. You can put it into other types of programs as well. So things like iMovie and things like that, you could work with that. And that's the thing too I want to mention is that we're going to look at more of these aspects too, but you can even just record some sound effects with an iPad. We did a whole session, and you can check out our website tbmcs.ca. We did a family podcast recording session / challenge to go through and make a recording of an audio podcast a couple summers ago, and that was a great session because we showcased how to do everything just with an iPad or iPhone. And so you can record sound quite well even on an iPad or iPhone, and there's some devices and you can hook up and bring in microphones. So that's also a great tool as well. So if you already have some personal technology, you can look at those aspects too and changing it over. We'll have more on that in coming sessions too. Okay, so that's the Zoom H-Friend, boom microphone recording. So just to go over this, the boom microphone, or also it's called a shotgun microphone, it's a directional microphone that allows you to record a very specific and focused sound source. Essentially, wherever you point the microphone is the direction it's recording. Okay, it does not record a lot of off-axis sound or sound that is not pointed at it, that it's not pointed at. So the microphone is great for recording close-ups of sounds for sound effects, but also getting great dialogue that's really specific by pointing it at, the actor's mouth, and then you're getting that exact dialogue. So again, this is the boom microphone, the shotgun microphone. You can see it's very, very directional. I have this foam screen. So this foam screen is great. They come with it. That's great to reduce wind, and the wind kind of can come in through the sides and the front, and it can pick up some wind. But what it's doing is the microphone is pointed this way. It's like a barrel, and it's really long, and it has the noise, the pickup is very directional. So it's very narrow. And where you point it, that's what it's picking up sound. And you can literally, if there's a computer fan and I move away from the computer, you won't hear the computer fan anymore. That's how directional it is. And the point is that you could, then you point it towards an actor's mouth. It can be from above, it can be from below. But you got to think about that whatever's behind them or their sources of sound, it can be picking that up as well. So for clean sound, the great thing about these are you can point it differently and avoid what the sound is in a certain spot. So you can try attacking it from the left or right, above, below, and you can try to nullify what additional sound is that's happening. This can work even outside. It's a very great boom system. Now, this was typically what was used in the past for a lot of sound recording and films and video. Then more and more people are using wireless mics or these lavaliers to get a little bit of extra better sound, but there's also the problem that these can rub a lot on clothing. And they're visible. Right now mine's visible. I can put it under a shirt, make it less visible, but then there's a shirt on top and then it's gonna rub and stuff. This boom microphone is independent of the actor, and it's someone else can be operating it, often called a boom operator, and that's how we can get into some really great sound. Now the boom microphone is a perfect microphone to record sound effects, very directional sound effects. So I can create basically all the types of sound effects that I'm going to talk about with this microphone. I can also record with this, and I would say, the best thing, I can talk about it, but it's really hard since we're not in person, but, take this stuff out, check it out, try what the different aspects are of it. So you try recording sound effects with the boom pole, try recording sound effects with these condenser internal microphones, and you can see what you like. I like getting ambient sounds or atmospheres of interiors and exteriors with this onboard microphone system of the recorder versus the boom pole sometimes. So I find the ambience, I can get really nice, great ambient recording with this portable sound recorder. So that's kind of a fun tip that I have. You can get really good ambient sound with that. You can also put it into 4-channel mode, so you can get that onboard microphone of the ambient plus your boom mic. Then you have multiple sources of sound, and then you can put a mix together. So you kind of have that onboard microphone, you have the boom microphone that's going to be giving you a different sound, and together you can have a really good, really good ambient sounds that you can use. Okay, types of sound effects, and this is really important. Sometimes we don't, I want to also understand, I want to explain the why, not just how we record these things, but why do we need these things? So ambience is one of the most important ones. It's often overlooked, and sometimes it's underutilized. And I think this is really key to building a solid sound design or using sound effects. It's one of the easiest ones to record as well. So ambience is the general atmosphere of interior and exterior spaces. What's really important is recording the ambience, for example, of a documentary, getting that ambience with one of these sound recorders to be able to then use with your interview or the space in general. So imagine if you're doing an interview in an automotive plant or factory, and there's going to be noise there. It's not going to be the most, the quietest place, but you're on location, you're recording something like that. If you can get the ambience of that whole factory working, that's perfect. Because then you can mix it into the dialogue or the interview and have that ambience. So it's also often called a bed track. So it's kind of the essence of your sound. So it's always there, these background ambient tracks. So it creates room tone, it creates what's called earth tone for exterior spaces. So this is like if you're at a forest, a beach, you're hearing water, all of that's really, really important. It creates the atmosphere and the ambience, and it's always there. And we hear this in our lives all the time. You go outside right now, you might hear some wind, you might hear some trees moving, some birds. That is all ambience. That it's not sound effects specifically, but it's ambient sound effects. And that's really great. It's a great way to create the sound design of your project of whatever it is, film, video, podcast, mixed media. And that ambience is really crucial. So again, recording ambience, you're just, you can go out with just these internal microphones, or you can go with the boom microphone, and you're just recording the ambience, just getting the space, getting the tone of what it is, room tone, earth tone, think of it that way. And you want to get some, nice, good, solid levels, and I'll show what that looks like shortly. Okay, then there's the next area, which are the sound specific. Sound effects. So these are really kind of traditionally what we think of sound effects. Sound effects that capture the sound that objects make. So the sound effect of a keyboard typing, the sound effect of a door opening, the sound effect of a car door slamming shut, the sound effect of a lighter flicking, the sound effect of clinking glasses, the sound effect of hearing glass break, the sound effect of a computer fan whirling, the sound effect of a car horn, any of these kinds of things. These are specific sound effects that objects make in general, and it's those sound specifics. And these are, again, not too hard to record. And oftentimes, again, we don't have to buy things. We can just record our own sound specifics and use them in our any kind of digital arts projects. And then we have the next category, Foley effects. These are the sounds that are made by people, and that includes, we always, the main kind of area is footsteps, also things like clothing, so clothing, movement, footsteps. Now footsteps are really fun to record, and again, using the boom mic, pointing it at the feet and the surface, and I'll go into some best practices in the next slide. So design effects. These are kind of the area where you start to record things that you're going to probably use for different reasons or different ways. These are sounds that are used to create different sounds. So these are the types of sounds you record and then you manipulate or you repurpose to be something else. A great example of this, a classic example, is the use of elephants and in Star Wars, and they made them slower and reversed them and things like this to make the spacecraft flying and sounds going by. It's elephants. And I think that's really phenomenal that you can take different sounds and then in sound design, and that's you know, the kinds of things that you can do. So you can think of maybe a bird and reversing it. You can make it into like a dinosaur, and that's really um, you know, and something that can always be explored. And think of like you can make your own sounds, like with your mouth. You can make, you know, rawr, and you can reverse it. You can slow it down. You can make different types of things with anything, and that's design effects. Oftentimes we purchase a lot of those in sound editing, sound design. I end up purchasing a lot of sound effects for sound design, and you know that's always a lot of fun to figure out what you can do and how you can do it. So that's really you know, a fun thing, the real fun part of it. It's really not specific, but that can also be things like drones. It can be musical. You might want to record some kind of musical things, and you know, and keep things going like that. Um, and other things to think about are when you're doing the sound design type things. Um, you can think about, you know, what are you trying to achieve, right? And that's kind of the whole area. So these are these elements of the sound, but then what are we trying to achieve? What kind of sound do we want to emulate? Do we want to have a very subtle sound effects and sound design, or do we want to have something really like in your face? And that's comes down to then what you want to record and how you want to record it as well. So that's just some things to think about. Okay, so let's think of some of the best practices, and then I'll get into some of these levels and demo this equipment as well. So best practices for recording sound effects. We have interiors and exteriors are you know, general recording, so they're not close up. And I like to call it close up because that's when you're getting that microphone in close up to you know, to the specific sound happening or to an actor's mouth. So this general recording is like from far away, and we're just getting that kind of general ambient sound. So try to record to represent what you need. So think about the spaces. So if you have a space that is very busy in what your project is in, you know, what your digital art's looking to do, and you want to hear people, then that's okay. You want to just go there when it's busy. Now, if you might also want to go maybe off hours or find it when it's closed and try to get permission perhaps to get into a space, if you need it to be empty, an empty space or environment. And that could be important for, like, let's say an interview area. So you did an interview in an office, there wasn't anybody in the office, but then you don't want to record this ambient room tone with people in the office. You want to still have it empty so that you can capture it without all that hustle and bustle of sound in there with people. Okay, so think about the representation of the ambience of what you're looking to do. If it's a windy day, let's say you're at a beach, it's windy, there's big waves, but your scene doesn't have big waves. So you might need to come back where the waves are smaller, for example. So you want to get the right type of sound effects. But you can also enhance it and play with, you know, if you don't really see the waves, you can also say that, hey, in your it's, you know, it's storytelling. You're saying the waves are bigger, and that's okay. That's the suspension of disbelief and the dramatic effect you might be trying to achieve. For sound effects, you want to try to record as close as possible, but be aware that you can have clipping or distortion if you're too close and it gets too loud, and it can happen very quickly. So think of it, these are often dynamic. So like a car door, you might not really hear the door opening, but the slam could be very loud. It could be, you know, 100 times louder than the car handle opening. So it's dynamic. So it could be loud parts, soft parts, right? So it's better to record at a lower level. So always adjust your level to, you know, to accommodate the loudest recording possible versus the softest. Or you can also do what's called riding levels, which is, you know, you can then increase or decrease the level when you know the sound's going to change. The recorders are a little bit harder because they don't have a specific knob, but there are other recorders that there's like a knob type thing. So if you have something like that, you could also do that. But always, if you record it for the softer, you can always try to boost it a little bit, or in between, or record just two pieces. If it's very dynamic, think about recording the softer part and the louder part as two different pieces, and that could be very useful and a great way to achieve that. So for recording Foley or footsteps, try to point the microphone at the surface that you're walking on versus the actual feet. So if you're walking on floor, or if you're walking on, here's a great trick too. You can use styrofoam chips for the sound of snow, and that's often used for like snow. But you can also create like little beds of materials for your Foley. So you can make put pieces of hardwood floor, you can put some sand, gravel, and then you can create these combinations. You can put a little bit of dirt on the hardwood floor if you want a dirty hardwood floor. You can put some gravel, stone that you walk on. And these can just be not too big, and you just have them, you walk in place, you record your footsteps. Now you can record these wild, and wild means that it's not to picture. And then you need to edit it together to fit the picture. And oftentimes if you're working with sound effects, everything's basically wild. You're bringing it in, and then you're synchronizing it to picture. Or maybe there isn't picture. So in the case like of an audio podcast, there isn't picture, you're just creating the sound. Or in the case of like a digital illustration, you don't have an actual sync point to the picture. But if it needs to synchronize, you might have to then edit it to synchronize it so that as a person walks, that you see their footsteps, you want to synchronize the sound to their walking as well. So that's this the big difference between that kind of wild recording versus the synchronized recording. So you can technically also watch the picture, you can see it on a screen, and then you can record your footsteps to that picture, and then it's recording to sync, and that's a fun way. There's many ways to do that as well. You can record directly into a program, so something like Resolve. If you can input your sound into a computer, you can record it right to picture, directly to picture, and that's a really cool way to do it too. Now, something to think about, if you're playing back picture and you need to hear the sound of what's on the picture, you definitely need to wear headphones for that picture, because you can't have the sound from a monitor playing while you're trying to record your sound effects. So that's the overall best practices. You're always trying to find the quietest room to record these types of sound effects, unless it's an ambience you're recording. Because the ambience, you're getting the sound in the room. It doesn't matter if it's a noisy room, you want the noise. That's what you're looking for. But if you're looking for specific sound effects, you want to really record that specific sound effect as it is in general, right? So that's kind of the idea, what you want to be able to do there. Okay, so let's get into some demonstrations here. So I'm going to just showcase the Tascam Dr-40. I have the recorder here. So this is it. I'm just going to power it on. At the Zoom H4n, there's just a side power button that you turn on for the Zoom. So this is the Dr-40. And what it says here, it says Phantom on. Are you sure you want the Phantom on? And it gives you a warning. And so we've default set these up so that channel 1, so you can see here's the XLR 1/4 inch input, channel 1 will have Phantom power enabled, and it's ready to go that way. And the reason being is we've designed these packages to work in a specific way, and it's just something to be aware of. So if you put in a microphone that is not requiring phantom power, you could blow the microphone's diaphragm to, you could basically break it. So you always want to, you can turn this off as well, and we have some technical videos on how to deal with all that. So I'm not going to get into all of those real equipment specifics, but I urge you to go to our website, tbmcs.ca. You can check out, we have a proficiency test that you can take to access this equipment. And it's also a great quiz, and it's a tutorial on how to use the equipment. We have more tutorials that we'll have coming out shortly as well. So that's going to really get into all the technical. So Phantom, I'm going to say yes. Okay, so the Phantom's ready. Now what I need to do is I'm going to hook up this microphone. So I have the XLR cable. There's the two ends, and there's going to be, there's the male and female end, and okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to put this microphone has one side like this, and so I'm just going to clip this XLR right in, and then to disengage it, to undo it, you press and then pull out. Okay, you won't be able to disengage it unless you click down. That one's required. It locks basically on so that it doesn't disengage by accident. Okay, now the other end is going to go right into, sorry, this cable's just a bit tight here. The other end's going to go right over to the recorder. It's going to go right into here. So I'm going to take the end, put it into here. Okay, and you'll see I don't see anything yet. Right? There's no sound happening here at all. So the next thing you need to do is I'm going to engage the record. Hit record, and now you can see I have the external microphone there. And as I talk, check, 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 you can see the levels going up. So the levels on this is really, really simple. There's basically an arrow here, and that's kind of your optimum height of sound recording, and I'm almost there. Then you have a little bit of what's called headroom. And if you go all the way up, you're going to get this peak light, and it's the same thing on the zoom. This peak light, it tells you that you're distorted or peaking, or clipping basically. Distorted audio is no good. You won't be able to fix it, and it's unusable. So you want to always make sure you're never overloading it, that it goes all the way to the end. So this is the meter, and this is showing you the levels of your audio. So ideally, you're kind of here at this arrow. That's kind of your optimum. And then you have a little bit of headroom, and the total is 0. So if you hit 0, you've distorted and you've clipped. So I'm going to try to showcase what this would look like. So if I go like this, if I hit the microphone, you can see it clipped. Right? I've overloaded it, so we can't clip it. But if I put it closer to my mouth, you can see I start to get a nice level. Check, 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 check. And that's a really nice level. So that's kind of essentially what we want to do for our leveling. And then there's this particular unit has the volume. I just adjust it here. So I can go up or down. So right now I can go up to 50. So you just make it louder or softer. I think it goes to like 100, and 0 would be nothing. And that's it. And then you're ready to record. Now these sound recorders, this is in what's called the pre-roll mode to adjust your levels. You're not actually recording anything. A lot of people make a mistake of just doing this. They think they're recording, but you're not. So this is now I actually start recording when I hit record again, and the numbers start moving. Then I know I'm actually recording a file. So this is now being recorded. You'd want to have headphones in here so you can actually listen to this as you're recording, and then you know what you're getting. And you just record, and then you hit the stop button here to stop the recording. You can also hit record, pre-roll like this. Now it's recording. So record once, record twice to actually record. And then I hit it, record again, and it pauses it. And this keeps creating one file. So that'd be a good example if you wanted to have the car handle opening. You record the beginning, and then you could lower the level while it's in the pre-roll, then record the next part of the door closing, and then you wouldn't have that distortion from one to the next. So that could be really fun. And you're in pre-roll again, so you can audition it before you record. So just take your time always with recording. And the best thing is audio is not an expensive thing to record because it doesn't take a lot of media files up. You can essentially record tons of stuff. I think I have like a 32 gig card in here. It'll give you like, I don't know, 100 hours. It's crazy how much you can record on one SD card. So it's not like video or photos where you start to get limited with how much recording time you have on the media. It's very cheap to record a lot of sound. So if you're out there recording ambient sound, record tons of it. Now, what do I want to do let's take our first category, the ambient sound. To record ambient sound, I want to record at least 3 minutes because I want to be able to use that and loop it so I can keep replaying it and reutilize it as I redo that section in my editing, let's say. So, if I have, the longer that recording is, the better. If you can record a 10-minute piece of ambience, even better. Typically, you want at least 3 minutes so that you don't notice that it's repeating. If it's 30 seconds, you'll hear it repeating. You'll notice, okay, that bird just went, and then, 20 seconds later, you keep hearing it. But if it's every 3 minutes, it's not noticeable. So that's really something that's important. So record a big section. Okay, so then if you're doing the sound specifics, what you want to do, for example, if I have, so I have this, let's say there's a mug here. Let's kind of move this over here into the camera's view. So what you do is you'd want to have that microphone really close, like so. And then, if I want to have like a clinking sounds or anything. So you're just recording right at it. And the levels are quite nice. Right? So that's something. You can use, the sound of, I have a piece of Velcro here. So, you basically have the Velcro right in front of the microphone. And I go, and you can probably hear that off my lav mic too. So you can get all these different sound effects. So it's really, really close. Same idea with feet. You would be doing the same thing with like feet. Walking, you can do knocks on wood. Right? And you can hear it on my microphone, and it's recording really nicely on here too. Right? And that's all you would do for any kind of sound recording. And then again, the design aspect, you can look at different things. There's really cool things out there. You can try, glass surfaces, ice, different things can make some really interesting sound. And you can utilize it in different ways. So again, Foley right at the feet. This microphone can be really close. Just make sure you're adjusting the levels as you need and not, having it too low or too high. And then record once for pre-roll, hit that button twice to make sure you're actually recording. And then the ambient sound, again, you can record the top microphones and plus the boom microphone. And that's how we have our kit set up. So you're recording both and you're getting that atmosphere both ways. And again, just check the levels, make sure they're high enough. And something with audio, you can always boost it, but you can start to also get into noise. So play it back. You can also increase your volume on the headphones when you play it back. And if you hear a lot of noise, that's probably not great. So the less noise, and I mean like, if you boost it up and you hear a lot of like, you don't want that kind of humming, hissing, especially if you're getting these kind of sound effects. So try to get a quiet room. Turn off computers. I have a bit of fan noise here, a lot of computers running in the studio here, but turn off fans. And you can also put a box around or curtains around, and that can dampen exterior sounds for your sound effects. So if you put yourself in a curtained area, using curtains around you, or I've seen people cover themselves with like a blanket and then get in underneath the blanket to record specific sound effects, no problem. Just have like a flashlight so you can see. But again, trying to limit the amount of exterior sounds. Some sound effects might be outside, and that's okay. You're gonna have some outside. You do your best to find a quiet thing like cars, specific birds, ducks. You might say, hey, I wanna go get ducks like quacking by the water. Fine, record them, but you're gonna have a little bit of ambience too. It's not gonna be a totally specific, just the duck, right? So we deal with that. So that's really the whole thing. It's a lot of fun to record sound effects. You take out these recorders, keep the levels at that peak, like I mentioned again. So you're always just working right here. There's always that little peak arrow. That's basically your -6 decibel. 0 is your total. Don't let yourself peak because that's clipped and it's not usable. So just keep it under that, and that's it. That's all it is. Recording once, twice to record again. Check, check, check. And then stop when you're done recording. There's an SD card, comes on the side here. SD card will just pop out. It's gonna say no card now, right? And that SD card just goes into the iMac computers at our creator space at the libraries. Put that into the back of the iMac. It shows up as an external drive, and then you have all your WAV files that you recorded in a folder. And it'll be, sometimes it's called music, or it has like different folders, but you'll find it. You'll find WAV files in that selection of the folder. And that's it. That's all you need to do your sound recording. So I hope that was a great intro to that. Again, we have a lot of equipment tutorials on our website, and that you can access through the proficiency test. So you need to do a proficiency test to access the sound recorders at this time. And then you can also, they're a great tool even just to learn about how these work, because we have all the videos that take you through the steps. By taking that, it's a great refresher, even if you've already done it. And then our website, tbmcs.ca, will also link you to our YouTube channel, where you can pick up all the how-tos on this recorder a lot more in depth. So to get you on that side, if you aren't familiar with the equipment, but also this is the best how-to in the recording sound effects. So I hope that was enjoyable and informative. And thanks again for joining us. So I just want to thank all our partners in this project. So we have the Canadian Council for the Arts and our library partners, where you can access this equipment. Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, Wasaga Beach Public Library. All you need is a valid library card at these partner libraries, and you can take this great equipment out and then come back and use the digital arts computers as well. Thanks again for joining us, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.